Joel Embiid was on his way to an MVP in the 2022 All-Star Game. Embiid was taking every opportunity to dunk, make step-back threes, and put on a show because he wanted that All-Star Game MVP. He ended up with 36 points and was the leading scorer on Team Durant by a wide margin. But later in the game, Embiid backed down Stephen Curry in the post, creating an infamous picture of Curry just trying to hold his own against a giant 7'2" Embiid. Then this happened. Yeah, the 2022 All-Star Game was absolutely insane. Stephen Curry put on a performance that, if we're being honest, I don't know if anybody can really replicate. The shots that he was hitting, and he was pretty much turning around after every single three. It was one of the craziest performances I have ever seen. Now, I don't know if the story panned out exactly like this with Embiid backing down Curry in the post and then Curry going for 50. But like I said, I don't know what point at the game that this happened, but I could guarantee you that that probably fueled Curry to absolutely go off for 50. I mean, 16 threes in the game. I don't care what level you're at. That is absolutely ridiculous. And there's really nobody that can do what Steph Curry was doing. I mean, the shots that he was hitting that game from the corner, from the top of the key, he was turning around so many times before the ball even went in. And this has to be one of my favorite Stephen Curry games of all time. I'm a Warriors fan. I love the Warriors. I will watch every game. I will watch every one of Stephen Curry's performances over and over again if I have to. But my goodness, this has to be up there with, I would say, maybe top 3 or top 5 of my favorite of all time. And I'm sure it is for a lot of people because it's something we will probably never see again. And if there's one lesson that we can take from all of Stephen Curry's performances and all the times where he goes off for 50 and proves people wrong, it's that we just can't poke the bear. Like, Curry is fueled by trash talk. He is fueled by matchups where he is the underdog, where he is underrated, no pun intended because of the documentary. But that fuels him, right? Like, he is going to prove people wrong every time there's doubters, every time he's either getting bodied in the post, every time there's either a mismatch and he wants to prove somebody wrong that, you know, he can guard, he can outshoot you, he can beat you by himself. Like, he will go out of his way to prove you wrong. And that's the competitive fire about Steph Curry that I love and that so many people love, right? Is that he takes these matchups personally in a sense, right? Like, if he sees or hears something that he doesn't like, well, he's going to come back at you and prove it on the court. But I just wanted to think back to this performance now because Joel Embiid, he got his MVP this year. And really, during that 2022 All-Star Game, he was trying to get that All-Star Game MVP. And really, I think Embiid was on pace to also win the 2022 MVP too. He kind of missed some games here and there, which I think prevented him from getting MVP. But man, that would have been pretty cool if Embiid got the All-Star Game MVP. But it sounds like Curry had other plans. And it just seems like with the way the game played out, right? Clearly, Curry was seeing that Embiid was going off at first, right? Embiid, like I said, was getting dunks, step-back threes. He was showing off, right? He had 36 points for the game. He had 10 rebounds, 4 assists. He was doing his thing. He was 5 of 8 from 3, 14 of 20 from the field. And also, like I said, he was by far the leading scorer on Team Durant. So you would assume that Embiid was going for the MVP and that he wanted it, right? And of course, it makes sense, right? Who wouldn't want an All-Star Game MVP after it was named after Kobe Bryant? But yeah, Steph created other plans. Immediately when he saw Embiid going off, you know, Embiid backing down in the post, Curry was like, nah, this is my time. I'm showing up. I am showing out. And I'm going to prove everybody that I'm still the MVP. It doesn't matter if I'm having an off season, which he did last year, if you guys remember, only shot around 38% from 3. He was like, no, none of that matters. I'm in a slump. Absolutely none of that matters. I'm going to go off and I'm going to show you all that I'm still the best shooter in the world. And I'm still the greatest shooter the game has ever seen. And if that performance didn't solidify that, I really don't know what did. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that Stephen Curry performance. It was one of the greatest performances I've probably ever seen, not just from Steph Curry, but probably from just any player in an All-Star game. But if you guys have any specific favorite Curry performances that you have, comment them down below. I would love to hear it. But yeah, this has to be one of my all-time favorites. Like I said, at least top 3 or at least top 5. Just the nature of the game, how good this game ended up being too, the closeness, the tightness of it, just the storylines, I would say as well. But then yeah, Curry going off for 50, 16 threes, and how many times he turned around like before even the shot went in. That was probably the most ridiculous part to me. But Curry in that game, like I said, I feel like he proved that he was the greatest shooter of all time, if he didn't already, right? And if anybody had any doubts with, you know, his down year, right? Like I said, when he only shot 38% from 3 during that 2022 season, I think he put all those rumors and all that, talk to rest with this game. And it was a spectacle to watch. But here's the thing, as I alluded to earlier, right? The main lesson is don't poke the bear. Stephen Curry, he will come at you every time. If you have something to say about him, if you have any doubts about his shooting ability, his ability to be effective, his ability to be an MVP level player, even if he has a few, down stretches where he's not shooting like himself, like, he will always come back with a game that just makes you go, wow. He will always come back with a game that tends to prove you wrong every single time. And that makes me excited, I think, for what Curry is going to do this upcoming season. He just came off one of his best years ever, right? 29 points per game, around 43% from three at the age of 35. There's no really limit to what this man can do. And I wouldn't doubt it if we see another, spectacle playoff performance from him in 2024. And if he fuels this team to a 2024 championship. I mean, Curry keeps himself in great shape. We've heard all this stuff about the offseason workouts. We've heard Draymond's comments on Podcast P talking about how tough his workouts really are. And man, Steph is set. Steph is set for another great season. But this just goes to show, right? We can never doubt Steph Curry. And the great part about his game is that he doesn't rely on athleticism, right? It's all in the shooting. It's all in his smarts, his IQ, how well he keeps his body in shape, the newfound strength that he has added over the past 3 years. So yeah, Steph Curry, he's an absolute spectacle to watch. This performance is always going to be one of my favorites from Steph Curry. And I don't know if anybody is breaking that record for most threes in an NBA game or even an All-Star game for that matter with 16. I mean, I'm sure somebody will come along maybe, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now and maybe break that record. But at least for now, Curry's got the record for the most threes in an All-Star game at 16 and just any NBA game in general. I don't know if I see anybody even getting close to that. Now, obviously, Steph, right? He's gotten 13 threes in a game. His buddy Clay has 14. And sure, maybe I would not doubt if somebody gets, 15 threes here in a game within the next year or so. But man, for now, that record is going to be unbreakable, and that will always go down as an absolutely legendary performance. No one can deny that. Steph is probably one of the greatest point guards of all time, if not, top 2, top 3, wherever you want to put him. I know Magic Johnson and John Stockton are up there as well, and even his new teammate, Chris Paul, but we cannot count out Steph Curry ever. And that makes you wonder if he's going to, go for another record in, maybe next year's All-Star game, right? I would wonder if he will maybe go for maybe 17 or 18 or 19. I think that'd be pretty cool to see. I think, though, the thing for Steph Curry is maybe in one of the upcoming All-Star games, right? What if he gets 23s? I think that would be really, really neat. I mean, obviously it would be historic, but man, I mean, I could see Steph Curry doing that. If there was any player that could eventually hit 23s in a game, despite if it's an All-Star game, it'd probably be Steph Curry. But I know they're kind of redoing, the All-Star game format and all that, so I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I've probably rambled on in this video more than I needed to, but thank you guys so much for watching. I just wanted to highlight this moment from 2022, just how legendary it was, and shout out Steph for that performance, because it was absolutely a spectacle to watch. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.